Hello, I'm Brianna and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little chatty. In July, I decided I was not going to have a project to work on. The only goal I had was to finish the edits for Little Folk, and I did that. So then I decided that I would have the freedom to just give myself freedom to do whatever I want. I'm glad I gave myself the space to just kind of think. However, for the past year and a half-ish, I have had I have always had a book that I was focused on, that I was writing. I've had Little Folk in my head for that whole year and a half, and then during that time I started writing 2 novels. Since beginning writing those novels, one was Midwest Gothic, so that one got revised, and then another one was my November story, which was a pirate story, and then I completely changed it and was just not feeling it, so I kind of scrapped that story. So right now I have no focus. I don't have a story that I am working really dedicatedly towards getting finished. Or maybe I should word it this way. I don't have a story that I have decided is the story that I am going to be working on. Now, to kind of explain what I mean by that, I started working on a novel. This novel is a story that I started writing in college, I think, is when I started writing it. I have quite a few ideas, and I know where this story is going, and I know how it's going to end, and I know that sort of thing. The issue is there's twofold issue in how this is going to work. 2 issues I'm going to talk about. First issue is I function quite a bit on gut instinct and how I feel in any given day to write a story, unless I have a focus project that I have decided it doesn't matter if you want to write today, you just write on that project. So if I don't have that focus project, what I want to write on any given day changes any given day. So as a result, the project that I'm working on changes pretty much every day. Right now, I just have a different mood for every day, so I write something different every day. For a couple days, I was writing the story from college that I talked about. Let's call it Sabia. The main character is Sabia, so we'll just call it Project Sabia. I was writing on that for a little while, and then we're gonna talk about the second issue. The reason I kind of stopped writing on that story was I want to write a standalone story. And the issue with the story that I decided to work on, the Sabia project, is that as I look at it, it's a fantasy story. It's got quite a bit of world building in it. It's got like a whole war going on in the background of it. And it's not something that I feel like I can conclude in one story. When I made that realization, I stepped away from the story and shifted to something else. And what I did was I did the same concept that I did with Little Folk. How I came up with Little Folk was I literally sat down and wrote down a list of things that I wanted to write in a story, or the things that were my favorite things in stories. And then I just put all of that into the novel, and that's what became Little Folk. So what I did was I took that same idea and basically was more like, okay, what do I want to write right now? And I wrote a list, started composing this book, and I created characters for this book. I plotted it out very vaguely. It's basically ready. If I wanted to, I could get going on the story, and I could start writing it. And I would probably have a decent place to go. Another issue with that is that I am not sure that that is the novel that I should be writing. My biggest hesitation with writing this story is specifically because it's new. The reason this makes me hesitate a lot is because I have at least 10 stories right now that have been in my head for such a long time that I haven't dedicatedly put in the time to plot out and all of that. I don't know if my brain just feels like it's a betrayal by doing a new story. I don't know. I'm just super hesitant because I've got all these stories. Maybe it's because I have a bigger connection to these stories, because these characters and these plots and everything have been in my head for much longer than the novel that I just plotted out. I'm just not sure, because I really like the idea, but it's also not holding my heart as much as other stories are, specifically the Sabia Project story, which has been on my mind for for the last week. It's been on my mind. I'm just worried that it's not going to be a novel. I want to write a novel, and in my head, novel's defined as a standalone. I want to write a standalone next because I would like to start querying, and I would like to get an agent. And I have heard from multiple places that it's hard to get an agent with a series, which is what Little Folk is. It's going to be a series. I want to be able to publish something that I know I'll be able to finish, because if I get the first book published and I won't be able to publish the rest of them, it would be seriously disappointing for me. I don't want to do that, and that's why I want to write a novel next. The issue is I apparently think in series. Like all my other stories that I want to write are really set up to be series. So I've got a lot on my mind right now, story-wise, and I really feel lost without having a project to focus on. But I'm super hesitant to decide on a project because of all the reasons I talked about. The project isn't holding a lot of passion for me, or I'm worried that it's going to turn out to be a series, or I have so many other stories that need to be told. Why am I not telling those stories? So it's a little frustrating, and I know I've got a while to do this. I'm doing this about halfway through July. I've still got time to think about this and to figure out what I want to do, but a big issue is that I really, really miss writing. I want to do something and I want to write, but I am hesitant to pick out a story to write because I don't know if it's what I should be writing. So that's where I am right now. What I'll probably end up doing for the time being is just write in the Sabia Project story just so I can write something, because I gotta write something. I can't not write. So I guess in conclusion, I still don't know what I'm doing. I really want to pick a new project, but there's all those factors that I talked about that are making me super hesitant to settle on something. But another issue with settling on a project and dedicating myself to a project is that this year is going to be the weirdest teaching year. The regulations that we have set in place, I am totally fine with them. I want everybody to stay healthy, but it's just hard. School is something that's important, and kids need to go to school, but we also want to make sure they're safe. And that safety part is the part that's going to make school very difficult this year. it's a careful issue. There's a lot of factors at play. So there's a lot up in the air in my life currently. I'd really like to figure out something right. I need a focus. I went to school. That was a nice focus. It was nice to be in the classroom again. In conclusion, I'm still figuring out what I want to do, and I really want to pick a project because I miss writing a lot. And I would like to pick something to focus on. If you are having the same issues as me in your writing, if you just don't know what to do next, or maybe you have some hesitancy on what you should write because you want to be published and you're not sure that what you're writing is what you should be publishing or trying to get published, comment down below. I want to have some conversations. I want to see what you have to say. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!